Hey, good morning, sports bettors. Matt Modi here with oddsjam, here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today. And I gotta say, my cold streak continues of just getting absolutely smoked. I was down again yesterday overall, down 1K as you can see on the screen here. I was 1 for 4 in these NBA player props, so can't hide behind that. Hopefully we can get it to turn around today. It is very nice to have a 4-day losing streak in sports betting, and then on the 5th day I was up. Also happened to be the day that the Eagles lost the Super Bowl. The day after, I'm reeling, was down 1K. It's frustrating. That's the nature of variance. We talked about that on our daily Twitter Spaces live stream, The Daily Sweat, which if you're interested in tuning into, it's at 3:30 Eastern every day. Hit me up on social media. You see my Twitter handle here where you can follow that. So today, a little bit of a lighter slate of NBA games. So I only have 3 or 4 for you guys to lock in, 4 total. So we can get right into it. The first one that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is Derek White under 19.5 points. This is at minus 110 odds at Ballybet. Now, the unfortunate thing for me is with Ballybet, they let me get 11 cents on literally every single play. So I'm heavily limited on Ballybet. But if you guys are using Ballybet and you are not heavily limited, definitely recommend putting, it's to risk to win 3/4 of a unit. So for me, that would be 82.50. For you, that would be whatever 3/4 of a unit is. But Derek White under 19.5 points. OddsJam pricing the Novig line on this to be at minus 112. We are getting it at minus 110. The gap between these two numbers is your profitability. And I know I talk a ton about the Novig odds, and people that are familiar with this channel don't need to hear me explain it for the 1,000th time. So the only thing I'll say is that it's pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world. If you're interested in learning more, I would recommend checking out any of the zillion positive EV specific videos we have on the oddsjam YouTube channel. You can also find my personal YouTube channel where I detail my personal strategy at Jedi Modi Sports Betting. All you need to know is that they're pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world. But the additional research that I do, because every single play on here is going to be positive EV, every single one. The additional research that I do is if you click into a play, which is what I do for every single one, you want to look at where the other sports books are pricing this play. You basically want to determine, is the bet you're placing an outlier compared to the rest of the markets or not? So you can ignore Underdog and Prize Picks because they're DFS companies. They have the same implied odds for every single play. But if you look at every other book, so we're getting minus 110. Bet Rivers is close at minus 117. Obviously, it's still not positive EV. Then every other book is between minus 120 all the way up to minus 139. You obviously want to give the heaviest weight to the sharper books. So for player props, I like to look at Pinnacle, minus 122. Bet Online, minus 125. And then DraftKings and FanDuel, minus 135 and minus 125. Pretty good price here on Ballybet. Derek White under 19.5 points. Minus 110 odds at Ballybet. That is play number 1. Play number 2, these two didn't like the outlier, so didn't play them. Play number 2 is Giannis Antetokounmpo over 13.5 points. Bet Rivers is another book that has me heavily limited, so I can only get like $2.50 on Bet Rivers, which is frustrating. But this is still a good play. Regardless of that, this is still a good play. OddsJam perfect line pricing this at about plus 108.5, essentially plus 108.5. And we're getting it for plus 110. And no other book has this for plus money. We see odds on Pinnacle at minus 105. We see odds at Bet Online at minus 106. DraftKings and FanDuel minus 105 and minus 104. And then if you just look across the board at every other sportsbook, we see odds ranging from minus 104 all the way up to minus 118 on some Colorado sportsbook called ClutchBet. So pretty insane price here on this Giannis to go over 13.5 rebounds plus 110 odds at Bet Rivers. Next up, play number 3, sticking with the Bucks Celtics game, going to be awesome. Drew Holiday over 30.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is at minus 103 odds at BetRivers. OddsJam perfect line, pricing it above this at minus 104. And then the same thing here. I do this for every single book or every single bet. I know it sounds repetitive, but this is the type of work, the stuff that I look into, the research that I do, literally every single play. Pinnacle is the highest on this at minus 130. BetOnline still favorable at minus 118. DraftKings has it at 50-50, but FanDuel also heavily favors the over at minus 120 with the under at minus 106. So we are getting a really good price here on Jrue Holiday to go over 30.5 points, rebounds, assists. And I will pause for just a second. If you're wondering why, like what's the logic of looking into all these plays? Like why does it matter if we're getting an outlier or not? It's just something that you have to think about in almost non-sports betting and just a logical scenario, right? These sports books are all pricing plays individually. And if the majority of sports books are favoring one side and the other sports book is the opposite of that, and that the opposite of that book, in this case, for this specific bet is BetRivers, that opposite of the market is in our favor. They're charging less money for this, if that's how you want to think about it. They're charging less money on this than every other sports book and where they're pricing this same exact play. It's the same exact play. He's either going to go over or under. But odds range from like minus 130 all the way up to minus 130 and minus 103. Like both of these numbers can't be the accurate reflection of this Jrue Holiday market, right? They're too far apart. That doesn't make any sense. One of them has to be right and one of them has to be wrong, or they're both wrong. But regardless, we know that they both can't be right. So you just let the data, let the markets tell you what sportsbook is correct and what sportsbook is incorrect. And the majority of sportsbooks favor him to go over this number, like FanDuel, like BetOnline, like Pinnacle. And then some of them have it at 50-50. But BetRivers is the clear outlier here, all the way down at minus 103. So this is the logic and the kind of stuff you're looking for when you're positive expected value betting. Now, obviously, it works out in the long run. Most of the time, February has been awful, but look at January, was amazing, up 6K. Look at December, was amazing, up 3K. Look at November, was amazing, up 2.3K. Look at October, was amazing, up, as soon as it loads, 3K. So I've been up for like 6 straight months, so I guess a down month was to be expected. Not that it makes it any less frustrating, but this is the type of stuff you look for in these positive EV bets. And taking out February, the type of success you can look for as well if you're doing this with every single bet. So the last one that we're going to lock in here, DeAndre Ayton over 10.5 rebounds, minus 107 again on BetRivers. You can ignore these 4 in the middle here. They're all DFS companies. Every other sportsbook, Pinnacle up at minus 129, BetOnline at minus 123. DraftKings and Caesars at minus 130. So FanDuel has it at 50-50, but the majority of sportsbook, similar logic, favor the over. DeAndre Ayton been playing better as of late. Over 10.5 rebounds as my 4th and final NBA player prop for this video. So if you've been tailing, I apologize for the cold streak. We will turn this around. It's been so good for so long. We will turn this around. We can't keep getting smoked. But that's going to be it. So 4 for you guys to lock in. If you're still watching this, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up on social media, and that's it. So appreciate everybody watching, and have a good one.